Welcome back to my channel. This is Natalie with Luxury Love Frequencies. I do tarot and astrology readings. So I'm bringing you the reading for the evening. I asked Spirit what Spirit would like for me to bring through to you, and I had several synchronicities this week. So I spent some time looking those synchronicities up so that I would understand some of the things that we should talk about. First off, if you're connecting with this channel, you could potentially be one of the people that has an alliance with Spirit. So a profound connection between an individual and non-physical guides or forces. This is a relationship. It's not one of control, but of mentorship and support, symbolizing personal growth, protection, and a deeper connection to the spirit realm. So that's what a spiritual alliance is. And we've got this sign or synchronicity I saw was deeper 7. So that's also completeness, perfection, and divine knowledge, spiritual wholeness, and connection to the divine. It's a state of completion, resting on the 7th day, divine order, and there's introspection and wisdom coming to you as you rest and focus on completing the cycle. And that brings us to this angel number 1057, which is take time out to look after your own well-being and to work on a new hobby or passion. So right now, it's a time where we're all about taking time out as we come into more of a spiritual wholeness, like a completion of our spiritual ascension or awakening. And so as we rest, we are looking after our own well-being. It's been a long road of many trials and many obstacles to complete the spiritual ascension. And of course, we're never all the way completed, but we get to a certain level of completion where we are very aware of our spiritual, we have spiritual knowledge, we have higher consciousness type of knowledge where you're understanding the point of the spiritual path and ascension, and also why it takes such big trials and lessons to get to this awakening point, which symbolizes, or it talks about, the final rise. That was another sign that I had. The phoenix rising from the ashes talks about, so the final rise is rebirth, transformation, which is also 555. We've got the integration of a higher consciousness into your daily life, overcoming adversity, and achieving spiritual enlightenment. A renewed, stronger existence after a period of trials and tribulations, trials and obstacles, heavy struggles and trials on your path. The phoenix rising from the ashes, which brings me to, we're getting ready to soar, transcending limitations. The limitations that have, we're renewing after these limitations that helped us to become the phoenix rising. So we're transcending limitations, divine empowerment, spiritual ascent, rising above difficulties with renewed strength, relying on God's power rather than on our own. And we're working on staying hopeful, being resilient, working on freedom, and this is coming through from a higher perspective. We've got the Alpha, creation and origin, totality of existence, from beginning to end, eternal divine nature as both creator and the culmination of all things. So that's what Alpha symbolizes. We've got the new alliance, Alpha. So we're aligning with spirit. We're aligning with the creation, the totality of all. So of all that is and all that will ever be, from beginning to end. The divine, the eternal divine, our eternal divine nature as a creator ourselves, and the culmination of our spiritual journey, our spiritual ascension. Like, we're learning about the creation and how things originate from beginning to end. And of course, Alpha also is symbolic in many religious, in the religious context, you know, of course, like of how things began, and there's never going to be an end, honestly. Alpha and Omega. Okay, and then crimson. Okay, so I saw crimson, so I looked up the word. So crimson spiritually symbolizes sin and atonement, royalty and majesty, Holy Spirit and divine presence, sacrifice and salvation, deep emotion, discipline and commitment, beauty and transition. So the transition between day and night and the evening sky. It's a significant time frame. So the way I took it is, right now, this time in life, like if you're resonating or like connecting with this message and resonating with this information, it's a significant time of your spiritual ascension where you're connecting with spirit. You're learning more about royalty and majesty. There's like connecting with deeper emotions, discipline and commitment to your goals, to the divine, to loving yourself so that you can love others, beauty and transition. And yep, this is a significant time frame. Concrete is another word I saw that I looked up. The spiritual symbolism of concrete is strength and stability, the foundation for building a life or community. It's a time, like it symbolizes tangible manifestation of abstract ideas. And it also represents importance of groundedness, the power of human creation, and it can also, in a negative tone, symbolize a rigid, hard-hearted state. Concrete. So that's part of the rise, or like the groundedness. Yeah. Grounding, hard hearts, the power of human creation, and your manifestations are becoming tangible. You could have had abstract ideas and not really knowing how to put it all together, but those are becoming more tangible. Like, yeah. All right, so the 144, because I saw 14455. So this is what the spiritual meaning of those numbers in numerology symbolize. The number 14455 combines the spiritual symbolism of 144 and 55. So from the biblical 144,000 in Revelation, it can represent a chosen, sealed group of believers, while 55 signifies major transformation, spiritual growth, and adapting to change. The full number can thus be interpreted as a powerful message to embrace transformation and new spiritual phases with faith. So I pulled the goddess cards. We've got the strategy card. So you're connecting to strategy. You're strategizing using your wisdom. All the wisdom that you've learned is helping you to, like, you're being asked to strategize. Things can be very complex at this time. It says complexity. And then we've got regarding fertility, which is like, fertility is growth and creation. And there's been some type of misfortune. This is ending, or potentially some type of death. So deaths can either be literal or spiritual. So death symbolizes an ending, a conclusion, some like things in your life coming to an end that are no longer serving you, and it's connected to transformation and rebirth after those things have ended. Could also be like people, places, things, relationships, anything that's no longer serving you, it's coming to an end. There's this energy of retribution. Or there's an end of retribution, potentially. You're staying brave. You are in your own personal sanctuary. You're creating one if you don't have one. And you're connecting to your, like, your abundance. Whatever is abundant in your, like, however you see abundance, or like what you imagine abundance to be like, that's what you're connecting with. And that could be like, abundance is part of your destiny. It's your birthright. So these cards came out in the reverse. Mystery. So things that were a mystery, like, they have been revealed. And compassion is in reverse. So maybe there's a lack of compassion or a hard heart, hard-heartedness. That was in the card before. It was, oh yeah, concrete. Rigid, hard-hearted state. So compassion in reverse would be like if you were in that concrete, hard-hearted energy. It's important to be grounded. All right, so compassion in reverse, connected to a journey, your life journey potentially. There has been destruction, and you're gaining clarity connected to the destruction, the hard-heartedness, and being at a crossroads. Crossroads is you're getting ready to make decisions. And this is connected to power, like you're in your personal power. You're staying strong, spiritually strong, physically strong, potentially mentally, emotionally strong. We've got harsh truths in reverse. So potentially you've already learned some harsh truths and this is connected to passion. You've been resting and renewing yourself. Rest and renewal. And then, so you're taking time out to look after your own well-being, and you're working on a new hobby or passion. Angel number 1057. And you're purifying your energy. Purification. Purifying your situation, yourself, your energy in tranquility. Becoming like you're in this peaceful sanctuary by yourself, and you're renewing and resting, and you're working on something that you like, beauty, either for yourself or just like what you want to create is beautiful, and judgment's being called. On boundaries, like you're setting boundaries so that you can work on your manifestations. You have been thinking back in your memories, and this is like you've been getting inspiration, and it's connected to your wild heart or a wild heart. And you're having courage. So you're in this energy of surrender and release, letting go, and you're getting ready to step into leadership. Potentials in reverse. But you have this energy of fortitude, protection, and independence. You're being blessed with fortitude, protection, and independence. And you're going deeper, 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 learning more emotionally and spiritually, connected to your devotion. You're devoting yourself to self-love, and you're transforming your personal transformation, which would be elevation, your level up with your talents, your abilities, your like working on yourself so that you can become the highest and most, like the highest, most conscientious version of yourself manifested into the physical. And there's been some darkness connected to your good fortune. And this is connected to a romance and having like this endurance energy. It's been going on, like trying to endure so you can get connected back to romance. And an energy of nurturing. nurturing a romance. You've been having to endure a long time, and there's been some type of indulgence and fear. But there's movement. You're moving forward because of guidance. That's your guidance to move forward. And I've got the energy of virtue. Be virtuous. Virtue. And rebellion. All right, yeah. Rebellion, and it's connected to righteous anger. I'm glad it said that. Righteous anger, connected to several things, having to endure really long. And there's been an upheaval connected to sexuality. In a connection, or like connecting to your personal sexuality, and there's balance and healing at this, like you're trying to heal and balance. Okay. Let's get some angel messages. Fear is being healed. You're healing connected to your fears. You're having courage. So your courage is being healed. Your passions are being healed. Yeah, it's a big healing time. Wow. You're at the crossroads. You're healing. In your sanctuary, you're healing. You're healing connected to your fortitude. Your personal power is healing. And your romance is healing. That healing card keeps coming out. Yep. And then we're back to courage. It's healing. So Isis is, oh yeah, your courage is renewing. Just a renewal, and renewal connected to good fortune. And good fortune is connected to depth, going deeper, connected to good fortune. So you're renewing, you're healing, and you're connected to going deeper on your journey of and working on your good fortune. And you're going deeper in your virtuous energy. Yep, you're healing your virtuous energy, healing virtue, and healing connected to death in your sanctuary, transformation and endings. Yep, there's been an upheaval, and you've had to be strong. Like fortitude is. Let's get the meaning of fortitude. The ability to draw on spiritual resources to endure and make meaning from adversity. Yeah, enduring hardship. Drawing on inner strength. Individuals use spiritual beliefs, connections to a higher power, or a sense of meaning to cope with difficulties. It's the strength to persevere through suffering rather than simply bouncing back from it. Spiritual fortitude allows people to find purpose and even growth through painful experiences. And a distinction from resilience. So while resilience is about bouncing back, fortitude is about courageously and faithfully enduring. Spiritual fortitude specifically draws on spiritual resources for this strength. The quality is evident in historical examples of people who maintained faith under persecution and in modern research showing its positive impact on mental health after traumatic events like natural disasters. So it's a form of resilience that allows individuals to transcend negative emotions during stressors like trauma by using their faith, beliefs, and a sense of purpose. It involves a courageous attitude of bearing hardships and maintaining convictions over time. That's spiritual fortitude. Oh, reading about that made me feel drained because it's definitely been harsh. Oh, we're healing connected to virtue. Let's see what virtue, let's get that meaning. Spiritual symbolism of virtue. Wow, this is really not going into like tarot. It's just, it's been more of a lot of spiritual downloading. So the spiritual symbolism of virtue is often represented by purity, moral excellence, and inner strength across different faiths and traditions. It's seen as a path to higher consciousness and enlightenment, cultivated through moral integrity, self-control, and righteous actions, much like the lotus flower that rises cleanly from muddy water to symbolize purity and enlightenment. So you're healing connected to virtue and fortitude. Destiny in reverse. A disruption of fate, loss of control, or being forced into an unfavorable path. Instead of a positive and fated journey, it suggests setbacks, delays, and being hindered by external forces or internal resistance to change. In some contexts, it can also represent repeating old cycles because a lesson has not been learned, leading to repeated bad luck. Or a mixture of all of the above. Loss of control. You feel like external forces are working against you or that you are not in control of your life's direction. Setbacks and delays. Instead of moving forward, you experience delays, setbacks, and unwanted changes. And external forces. You're being moved by forces outside of your own will, disrupting the path you intended to take. Yeah. In several ways. Like a death of a family member, or like external forces that have messed up the economy. Or the ability to increase your, like, you're taking back your power when it comes to working on your career options, and you're figuring out your financial standing and your financial manifesting abilities. You may find yourself stuck in a pattern of negative experiences, indicating a lesson that has not fully been learned and is now being repeated. Unpleasant change. The change that comes with destiny is not positive, but rather an upheaval or a negative turning point. So you're healing connected to your destiny being interrupted or affected by external negative forces. What else? You're healing regarding an upheaval. Let's see what upheaval means. Upheaval. Profound transformation, often experienced as an intense inner crisis that leads to growth, the collapse of old beliefs, or divine intervention. It can represent a spiritual awakening, the necessary breakdown of an old self to make way for a new one, or a cosmic event marking the end of one era and the beginning of another. Spiritual awakening. The old self being like collapsed so that the new self can rise. Yep, falling upward. Some spiritual traditions view upheaval not as a fall, but as a necessary falling upward into a newer and deeper way of being, even though it is challenging and often involuntary. I like that. Falling upward. Cosmic upheavals like earthquakes, darkened skies, and falling stars symbolize divine judgment, the establishment of a new covenant, or God's direct action in the world. It can represent the end of an old, corrupt world order and the ushering in of a new, more just one, fulfilling divine promises and purposes. And it's a collapse of earthly powers. The falling of stars is often interpreted symbolically as the collapse of earthly powers or spiritual authorities that are being replaced by a new divine order. Challenging societal and personal structures. Upheaval can represent the need for a significant shift in established religious beliefs, cultural norms, or personal relationships to align with new spiritual understandings. Okay, so we learned about upheaval, and now we're going to switch gears and we're just going to get the final messages. So there's a remedy here to stretch, and there's an important message to stay flexible. So stretch and stretch yourself, stretch your abilities, and remain flexible as you continue to ascend at this time.